What's up, guys, and welcome to a new thing I'm going to start doing every single season with a overall just patch notes review of the new operation, which this time it's going to be Void Edge, and we're going to go through all of these things: intro, new operators, new features, operating balances, and then the tweaks and bugs that they did fix. So let's skip right into where the new operators are. Here is Yana, the attacker. Everyone knows who she is, so we'll get into the patch notes as fast as we can, but here is her whole loadout. We have the primary weapon, the ARX 200, which is probably the best out of the two options, and the second being the G36C. Secondary weapon, she only gets one choice there, and it's the MK1 9mm. She only gets one option on her secondary weapon, which is the MK1 9mm, and has a frag and a smoke grenade option under her gadgets. She's also a 2 armor, 2 speed, and she has a replicator is what they call it. Basically, it is a remote controlled holographic copy of Yana, so it's basically a eye level drone. You control it like you control her character, so we'll watch a little trailer here to get a better idea of that. So as we all saw, that is really good for baiting enemies out. It would be best to pair that with another teammate. If you have some friends you play with, you can bait with the Yana and have them follow it up. Only thing that can stop her device though is mute jammers and potentially bandit charges if you walk into like barbed wire with electricity. It's only a 1 HP thing, so 1 bullet and it's done. Next up we have Oryx, which is the defender coming year 5 season 1, and he is able to barge through walls. His primary weapon options, one is the Spaz 12 and the other is the MK5 without the ACOG though, so it's not like Doc and Rook. Secondary options, we have the Bala 410 and the USP 40. You're going to want to use the Bala 410 most likely with Oryx because he's able to jump through hatches and go up them, and the Bala 410 has the capability of opening up the hatches. Finally, we have the gadgets, one being barbed wire and the other option being a bulletproof camera. He is a 2 armor, 2 speed, just like Yana. So we'll go ahead and watch this video to see what he's really about in game. So all he's really good for is barging through soft walls. He does take 10 damage per time he jumps through, so over time he can't just bowling ball his way through the map. But it's not just for breaking walls, it's actually a quick dash that he has, and it is his signature move. They say it is the fastest operator during his little boost, which I do not doubt one bit. But the main thing I see him with being a roamer is that he can jump through hatches. This is definitely going to require the defenders, or the attackers I guess, when they are defending the bomb, if they plant it, they're going to have to be looking up and down. And as for the new map, we get a new version of Warden here, and if you guys are interested in seeing the whole map and everything about it, I have a video on that just a few days ago, and I'll put a card in the description there. So basically what Rainbow Six says about it is that they are just trying to keep reworking maps that seem to have imbalances. So they tried to fix the imbalances, especially with Big Tower, which is now not a bomb site, so it's now kitchen and open area, if you guys are aware of that. So what they have to say about it, they mostly say that they just reworked everything here. So here's what it says. Big Tower now connects directly to kitchen and the first floor thanks to the kitchen corridor, which is basically just a hallway, which is shown in that video. And there's also a new area in the basement, which is just a little hallway, and they call it freezer. Other changes include the door between kitchen and bathroom corridor now is called security corridor. It's just like a little security room. And there's one also leading to dining hall from the outside. Attic upstairs has also changed. It has a little foyer now to get into it, and that's basically all that has changed in the map, minus maybe a few hallway changes and such, and widening rooms. Next up though, we have one of the biggest things that is really going to help the game: barricade debris consistency. So if you guys don't know, there has been a lot of client side debris breakage lately well, for the whole entire game, and they are finally getting around to fix it and not having the particles be stuck on the door and actually have them fall. So basically all barricade debris is the one side of the party, usually the one who hits it, gets a advantage or disadvantage depending on how the debris falls or if it falls, and it's all done client side. So one player is always at a disadvantage. So that is now gone, or hopefully close to gone with this new update. So as for this quote-unquote new drone spawn thing, this used to sort of be in the game in casual mode whenever the drone spawned wherever you were going to spawn, and that is kind of what they're bringing back now, just a little different. They originally changed this because people were spawn killing based on where the drone spawned. They looked out for the drones and then attacked that spawn. But now you get to place where your drone spawns, and you can always change your spawn later, so there's no spawn peeking involved in it, and it's actually just strategy. Now scrolling down, they changed the whole entire menu, so it's more what they say Rainbow Six Siege feel. Personally, I like the old one a little bit better, but I guess they are right about it being a little bit more Rainbow Six Siege feel. So training grounds and learning area, those are both new. One of them is situations and one is terrorist hunt, and then there's custom game, of course, but they just renamed it to better represent what they really are. So those are the top right things: learning area and training grounds, and then custom is right under it. Now the two existing operators that get a change in their mechanics is Legion with the balance of his goo mines. The main thing here is that the goo will not instantly affect their damage, so it won't initially hurt them. So that gives them time to take it out before it actually starts affecting them, and the tick is now 4 from the previous 6. It used to take your health down 6 each time, now it's only 4. So hopefully that fixes the imbalances we had with Legion and makes them less frustrating. But Twitch is getting changes. She gets more of a buff. Her shock drone is now 3 shots, but it also recharges. It's a lot like Echo's yokai drone, so basically compared to that, it's going to have its 3 shocks, and then you can recharge them and shoot them up. But also, its damage is now only 1 point of damage, so it doesn't do much to opponents anymore, and more so affects the Miras and stuff. Now moving on, we have a elite skin with Ash. I don't know why they got another one, but it's called Lara Croft or Lara Croft. I don't know. I think Lara. I don't know. But elite set. All this is though is a Tomb Raider set, so they're just trying to feed off their other games. Once again, operators' prices are decreasing, so they do this every season. As the operators get older, the prices go down. So this time, Mir and Jackal are both going to be 10,000 renown or 240 R6 credits. Lion and Finka are going down to 15,000 or 350 R6 credits, and Mozzie and Gridlock will be both going down to 20 and 480 R6 credits. As for the 3 skins we get here, they all look pretty good, and the first one they call the Sleek Saber Carve, and it's influenced by the historical weapon area of Orcs region of origin. Second, they call the Playful Clog Dance, which is modeled after a wooden shoes of Dutch culture. So they're trying to stick with the cultures of the operators. I get that, but third skin we get here is the most colorful of the bunch, and it is called the Colorful River Scale, inspired by Dragon Boat Festivals. So those are the only skins we get so far this season, so not too impressive. I do like the far left one here, but other than that, I think that's the only one I truly like here. Next, we have news about the Year 5 pass, with there being a total of 6 new Year 5 operators and 6 new headgears and uniforms for them. And everything else is the same, just not 8 operators like the old usual. Also, a thing to note is Year 4 pass owners will get 600 R6 credits and 2 legendary and 3 epic alpha packs for renewing their pass if they do. So they're just trying to promote us to keep going with their pass. As for toxicity and player behavior, now cross chat is optional. So chat at default will be team only, and you'll have to change it in the settings if you want to see all chat, which all chat is usually where it's toxic, as everyone's just trash talking each other. But you have the choice now to only see the team chat. Before it was all or nothing, and now you could do team or all or nothing. So also they have reports here, and 85% of reports of abusive chats are made against a player from a different team. So that's why they're really implementing this. So 85% of those in ranked, unranked, and casual all come from opposing teams. So that's why they say the team chat is safer for sure. Also, this one's not really anything, but they said that they are reactivating the escalation of abandoned penalty for ranked and unranked. So that's just going to go back to where it was with it becoming an escalating thing and not just straight to the harshest penalty. Now we have operator balancing. So this is all the operators. Mainly it was just Legion and Twitch with the main things, but these are just slight balances that we'll get into down here. Recruit will have a new preset loadout for attack and defense instead of just a bunch of CTU based loadouts. So their reasoning is this will help ease the learning process and make Recruit an ideal pick for new players familiarizing themselves with Siege. I understand that they're trying to keep the new players engaged and not have them just rage quit after getting smacked in the face, but this doesn't really affect anyone besides those players. Castle has lost the M45 and has gained the Super Shorty, which is good for him. This is the one that a lot of defensive operators have, and it's good for shooting through walls. Frost now has a holograph on the C1. That's a good change for sure. Goyus now, if you fall on them, it will collapse instead of exploding. That was annoying, so that's a good thing to change as well. Moving on to the next one, we have IQ, which all that changed for her is if she sees the bomb with her gadget and the team has already not found it, then it will reveal it to the entire team instead of just to herself. Now Legion had the most changes here with the goo mines are only visible to him if he is looking at them and he actually has like a line of sight on them. So that's big. He can't just see them from across the map and see that someone hit that and use it as guide on where the enemies are. Instead, he actually has to be close and have a line of sight on it. Now, as we've stated, the goo mine initial tick is gone. I said earlier that it was 4 to 6, but it's actually going up because it doesn't have initial damage anymore. That makes more sense than going down, so I guess I get that. I don't know why I said that earlier. Hopefully I corrected that and cleared that up right here. So also some operators are now immune to the goo mines, DB and O operators, so they'll still trigger them, but the goo mines will not apply to them. So if they're looking at it, they'll know that you're there, but it won't hurt you. So that's the main thing with that. Then Twitch drone, we already talked about this. It is 3 shots instead of 5, and now it has recharges, which take 30 seconds, and it has a cooldown to 1 second, and it used to be 2 seconds apparently. I didn't know that at all. But then the taser is only worth 1 HP instead of 10, which does also mean that Evil Eyes and ADSs are now only 1 HP also, which makes total sense, as it would be ridiculous if you had to shoot stuff multiple times with the Twitch drone. Now Warden also has a change with his glasses. His activation lasts 10 seconds and will need 10 seconds to fully recharge, so it's a 10 on 10 off process if you don't wait for it to fully load, and it only requires that there to be 20% of his charge left. So that basically means the cooldown is now gone on Warden's gadget, and he now has control over when it is going to be activated and deactivated. So it actually matters his usage time, so he can actually deactivate it. It's not just a ongoing thing until it's dead. And moving down to DMRs, they increase destruction for DMRs for faster destruction of barricades, hatches, and soft surfaces. That's probably a good thing, as DMRs are basically mini sniper rifles, so they should be able to shred right through soft surfaces. The Vector 45 for Mira and Goyu, it has increased 2 damage points, so that's good to see. Its recoil really has gotten hit in the previous season, so I'd like to see a final buff. And finally, we have loadout changes. Dokkaebi now has stun grenades instead of frag grenades, which is unfortunate for Dokkaebi users because frags are obviously better than stuns in most situations. Maverick is the opposite. He gets frag grenades instead of stuns, and Nook gets frag grenades instead of a claymore, and Ying also gets that. The compensator has been removed from DMRs. Totally makes sense, as DMRs are one-shot guns and compensator is over time, so this is a good one. I don't know about these we'll have to see how they play out. I feel like Nook should have a claymore depending on his operator or her operator. And for the final part of this patch notes, there is the tweaks and improvements page. They have changed explosions and damage of those things. Basically, it's just to tell how much damage you take from nades, So here's the main part we need to take into consideration. It will apply reduced damage based on the number of objects it passes through from the origin of the explosion. Shrapnel damage should be more transparent in providing feedback to players on how they took damage or died. When you die by nades now, it's just an instant death and they don't really tell you where it came from or anything. And now it should more clarify what's happening when you get exploded. Corner explosions, they said they improved how explosives interact in corners where there is both a hard and soft wall. I didn't know there were any issues with that, but now we know. They have improved indestructible object interference. So basically a metal beam that can't be destructed is now going to be able to block damage from soft walls. As for player comfort, I like this whole ideal the best. You can stay in the drone after the prep phase for information. So once you get out of the prep phase, you aren't just going to be cut to your player. You can actually stay in the drone, which is very nice, but also could cause some wild runouts, assuming that someone uses it. I don't know though. The drone spot is no longer random. You actually pick where you want your drone, so that's nice. The caster hub was revamped, as we all saw. Player cards were also changed. They can now be toggled and give the casters a better ability of what is happening in the game. That's good for comp, but so all the header will say is the team names and when it's diffusing, or the diffusing states whenever that is happening. So you'll see when it's going to be diffused and such, and see where the players are. This is really just not relevant to the average player, but it's good for competitive, as I've said with the player cards. Name change, I already went over this, but the Terrorist Hunt playlist will now be Training Grounds, and Terrorist Hunt Classic will now be named Elimination to more accurately tell the game users what they actually do with this mode. This basically just tells the newer players why people actually use this mode and what they use it for. So as for game health, the players will now be notified, which is nice, whenever a player they reported has gotten banned or something like that. So we're actually going to know whenever that toxic guy actually gets banned. That's cool. I would like to know that. So they also consolidated the data in the game. So to do this, they're trying to reduce the game size, which is getting larger. Doesn't really make total sense, as it says this means the season patch will be larger than normal, so I guess they just delete some files and redo things. I don't know how that's going to work, but expect for the season patch to take longer on your downloads. Player loadouts, this one doesn't mean much to us, but they are saving them differently in their files. So as long as you log in sometime during year 5 season 1, it'll save our classes in a new format. That's more internal, but if you do not play season 1, it will come back with a default loadout, which would be unfortunate if you lost all your loadouts. And finally, we have the operator BIOS updates. This doesn't really matter, but Buck, Frost, Blackbeard, Valk, Capitail, Cav, Echo, Habana, Jackal, Mira, Legion, Ying, Elizofia, Dokkaebi, Vigil, and Finka and Lion all have a bio update. So if you guys want to check those out, go in-game and do so. But that is all for Void Edge. That was a lot. That was a whole lot of stuff, but hopefully you guys are excited for Void Edge. Feels like they did a lot to make the game better, and hopefully continue to do that going forward and going into year 6. Go ahead, tell me what you guys are most excited about. I am most excited about for a house rework. Can't wait for that. That is coming sometime in year 5. Don't have the timeline out for me, but it should be out in the next few seasons, so I'm excited to see that. And with that, if you guys made it this far, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.